And welcome back to our second segment of the show, where we're going to be discussing the promotion of agribusiness in northern Belize. As such, we have been joined on the set this morning by Emil Usher. He is the shop coordinator for the Belize Marketing and Development Corporation, and Mr. Gabino Canto. He's the project coordinator for the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United States. Good morning, Mr. Canto. Of the United Nations, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Good morning. Good morning.
And thank you for being here. Of course, the conversation for today is looking at promoting agribusiness in northern Belize. And this is a project being done through the FAO. What you're looking is really to be able to diversify the market. Let's talk about the origins of this project. Yeah?
Mr. Canto
Okay.
will be the
Yeah?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for allowing us to come here this morning. First of all, this project is a 2.5-year project that is funded by the European Union under the AMS Sugar Agreement. And it is implemented by FAO and the Ministry of Agriculture here in Belize. The main objective is actually to give an opportunity for the small sugarcane farmers being affected by the drop in sugarcane price and sugar prices, to give them an alternative of where they can get alternative means of income generation at the farm level. So this project has 4 components. The first component is the value chain component, and then we have 3 commodities, which is the onion, honey, and the sheep. To look at the 3 commodities to give them an opportunity to improve what they are doing, so that they can fetch the best price in the market, to increase their livelihood. No? So the project started in January 2015, and we are coming to an end next month. And you might say, what have we done over the last 2.5 years? And it's very interesting. We went there, looked at what was there in 2015. We did a baseline survey to get data where we were and where we are today.
Okay.
So it is very important to know what is on the ground level, how to tackle it. So each one of the commodities, we did a value chain analysis, and from that value chain analysis, there were recommendations that came up. The threats and the strengths of each commodity, what needs to be done to strengthen it. So the first thing we did was to develop, to set up a value chain coordinating committee for each of the products. So and that includes all the people involved in the value chain.
When you say value chain, what does that mean?
Okay, value chain is actually a system where it is you find that the farmer produce, they plant, they harvest, then they process, somebody else pick it up, take it along the line until the person consume it in the kitchen. Okay, so it is a chain of a whole set of people involved. So the committee had the input suppliers, who are the people who sell seeds, fertilizers, the farmers themselves, the people who trade the product, who do the trading, and also the people who provide the finance to produce. So institutions like the credit unions, the Development Finance Corporation, and also the policymakers, those who can look at it and say, well, okay, this is a good product, let's multiply it to produce for the domestic market and for the export market, whatever it is. Huh? So it's a whole chain of people. We have BAHA, we have police, customs involved in it because of several things. We have contraband involved in these products. So we have to kind of help the farmers.
Now, looking at the specific purpose for this project, and this is very key because, we talked a lot about what would happen with the changes in the preferential market, but we haven't really done quite an assessment as to how people are doing now. It was known that this was going to be the year there would be a shift, which would be a change in prices, and also would be something that would impact the individual farmers. Now, when in 2015 this approach was made to farmers to be able to diversify what they're doing, how open were they to moving outside of what is the traditional sugar cane into another area?
Very interesting.
Yeah.
You know, there's a tradition or a culture in the sugar industry where the parents hand over the sugarcane production to their children, and a lot of them tend to believe that they cannot come out of it because it's a culture.
Yeah.
And that is something that we faced when we went there. But fortunately, there are some people involved in the production of honey, the production of sheep, and production of onion, who we worked with, and then we brought in the other people slowly into the production of these goods. It has taken quite some time, but eventually we managed to get a few of them on board, and right now those that joined seem to be very happy. Because just to give you an idea, we did a demonstration plant in onion in San Carlos in Orange Walk and one in Pachacan in Corozal. And it's only half acre.
Yeah.
To teach them the best way how to produce onion. When we went there, the farmer said, we know everything about onion, so why do you, what else can we learn? Fine. When we did the farmer field school, which is a very good method of teaching people, you do the theory in the classroom, then you do the hands-on in the field. So we did 2 parcels. Half acre we divided into 2.
Yeah.
Half of that is what the farmers' practice is, and the other one is the best practice. Now, we have the classroom setting there, teaching these people, and then in their plot, they are allowed to go there and do their own thing.
How they would do it.
What they learn there, they practice it there. In the other one, the extension officers are there to give them guidance. What they taught in the classroom, they came there, they went there and actually did what they're supposed to do.
So they did the traditional versus the instructed way.
Yes.
And what was the difference? Tell us.
Now, the idea is actually to find out how good or how well they learned the classroom and the practical part of it. In the end, after they harvested the product in San Carlos, the farmers got, the difference is only about 1,000 pounds in the onion. Apparently they learned quite a bit from what they learned in the classroom. And so for the half acre of land, they managed to get 18,600 pounds of onion. That is in San Carlos. In Pachacan, the farmer got 14,700 pounds of onion. And then the farmer used that money, which is $1 a pound he sold the onion, and paid his debt from the sugar cane he got from DFC. Okay, so he was very happy that we did it in half acre of land. He managed to pay whatever he owed to the DFC. And he said, you know...
so it's more lucrative than the sugar cane. They're making more money?
Yes.
In onions?
In a smaller piece of land, yes.
Wow. And the labor, the amount of work involved in being able to harvest cane versus harvesting onions?
It's less.
Wow.
It's less.
What you're speaking to is a diversification in terms of the produce that these farmers can actually get into. Do you find that they have been open or receptive to the idea, or is it something that they feel is mandatory now that the preferential market is coming to an end?
One of the things that we found also is that the farmers work individually. They are very individualistic. It's not like the Mennonites that work together and sell things together.
Yeah.
So that's one of the challenges that we face there. But we work with the cooperative department to bring them together and show them that, you know, by working together, you have a lot of benefits that you can get from that. So the people from the sheep farmers in Corozal and Rejok, they have not formed a real cooperative, but they are pre-cooperative, we call it, working together. The one with the honey, they are doing the same thing in Corozal and in Orange Walk. And the onion, we have done 2 Little Belize, San Carlos, they are working together. Only Corozal district left to finally put them to work together, because once you have a little splintered group, that is where the problem comes in.
So Emil, obviously the role of the Marketing and Development Corporation is also very important to this when you talk about your value-added chain, right?
Yes.
We're looking at pricing, we're looking at promoting, and one of the things we always hear from the BMDC is that we need to buy local products. Now, I'm going to turn this around though, because we have seen where products are allowed to be imported when there is sufficient supply locally. What's being done to ensure that if we get more farmers into onion production, that we will get people, or honey production, that we will get people to buy the Belizean brand?
Well, as we all know that we have a set time in the year where we actually plant and harvest onions locally, and then after we import for the shortage that the country has. But for this time that the locals are planting and for the time they will be harvesting, there are no imports of onions or any other stuff that we would have them planting or they would be producing as well.
Okay.
So that is why we have, as a matter of fact, for the entire year, we have certain amount of quantity that is consumed locally, and so we actually know the studies, the numbers are there by the Ministry of Agriculture as well.
Okay.
They know what time exactly when to harvest and when to import as well. And when we talk about buying local, we're talking about benefits for the consumer as well. We eat more fresh. When we think about local, we think fresh. Produce has less time from the farm to the kitchen, as Mr. Gabino mentioned. We have much more benefits, GMO free. Products doesn't sit in storage containers or storage warehouses, for that matter, for said time before it actually reaches the country, and then into your kitchen, for that matter. And that's for benefits for the consumer. Now we're talking about the economy. Farmland is being opened. We have open farmland green, so fresher air and so forth. And then after, when for the economy, dollar for dollar is spent, we purchase from a farmer locally, and that same money is being turned around. He purchased, it could be for his personal use or to reinvest in his farm for other supplies, other harvesting for that matter. And so those are importance of buying local.
So, and let's look at the three specific areas that this project focuses on: onions, honey, and lamb. Let's start with the lamb. Is there a big demand for lamb within Belize? Or is it a market that perhaps we haven't really tapped into?
When we went in 2015, that year, the consumption for lamb went up. 2016, it remained the same. And right now it's the same. The farmers over there cannot supply the demand for lambs at the present time. But at the same time, there are some people who are actually investing a lot of money in sheep production. In Cayo, in Orange Walk, in Belize as well. Because there is it's not a definite market, but there is a market there.
Are these farmers being taught how to raise the sheep for export? Are they export ready already?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Because the population of sheep in the entire country of Belize is only about 17,000.
Okay.
We need about 500,000 to supply a market on a regular basis. No? So it is not that, well, at this point in time, I don't think it will be possible.
Okay.
But at the same time, one of the things that we did over there is to train the farmers how the best practices, husbandry practices in sheep production. In fact, one of the problems over there is that in the dry season, there's very little forages for the sheep to consume. As you go along the highway, you'll see a lot of dry grass and things like that. So we are helping them to plant good forages, and at the same time, forage plants that is drought resistant, that can grow in the dry season, that they can chop and feed the animals with it. It's like a concentrate that you feed to the pigs, no?
Speak to us about the honey production. Has there been a shift in terms of realizing that there are more people gravitating towards beekeeping, for instance?
Not really. Not a lot of people going into beekeeping because of the idea that the Africanized bees is hard to control.
Yeah.
And not everybody likes the idea. But
Are they hard
honey
to control?
Not really. When you deal with them, they become like pets.
Gabino, I think that's your experience talking, and my fear of bees believes otherwise.
But Belize produce only 50% of the honey consumed in the country.
Wow.
There is a market, there.
There's a
for
huge gap,
expansion.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I can never understand why people buy imported honey. I mean, ours tastes so much better. And now I understand that obviously we need to meet the demand.
One of the things that we are doing also is to train the people exactly how to manage those bees, how to manage the apiary unit, how to identify disease problems, how to treat it, and also how to package the honey. And this is where marketing board comes in. Because if you go to the Chinese store right now, you find honey in different bottles,
different presentations.
Yes.
and there is no label to it, and so on.
That is true.
And that is something that we are trying to change with the BMDC support.
When you talk about the honey is not only better, more organic as well, but they're also not only getting much more nutrition, but they're also providing and assisting the economic development of the country as well. They're keeping the dollar here at home. As for the farmers as well, when they produce for direct consumer sale, they receive dollar for dollar profit. When they produce for different stores locally, they get more money from their produce for the work put into it. Because as we know, farmers would normally make less than what the actual supermarket would be making.
Yeah.
So that's much more importance for buying local as well.
Now, what you're saying in terms of being able to work with honey producers, it's also building their own brands, because that's also something I love honey, so I buy a lot of honey. And I would never be able to know the one that I bought last week if I'm buying the same one again, unless they carry a label, right?
Or unless you're purchasing the ones that Mr. Gabino mentioned, the ones without labels.
Yeah, that's why there are many without labels. And I find that with a lot of Belizean products. Like there's not consistency with labeling, so you like something one time and you don't know how to get it again.
Yes.
So is that something that the marketing aspect is that you're going to be focusing on in terms of marketing?
Well, in terms of marketing, yes, we focus on that. As mentioned, now that we have a new program under the BMDC, it's a branding program, so we can actually brand these products, honey and so forth. It has different phases in the branding session, no? Yeah. And for now, we're working with leg chop mulled coconut oil. So we go on assisting these producers in branding, so they can actually identify their products whilst in the market.
When it comes to quality of the honey, the project taught the people how to test the quality for honey. It's basically the moisture content. And because there is adulteration in the honey that you are talking about, the quality, people put water in it to extend it. No?
Yeah.
But naturally, the Belize honey doesn't have that. And they come in different colors. You find the clear, the medium, and the black, the dark color.
Yes.
But the quality remains the same, except that the honey comes from different sources. That's the reason why it is like that.
And we tend to have darker honey, medium to dark honey, don't we? I don't see as much clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the consumers goes, they normally think that this honey is dark. It's
not
more
as
sugar
good
based.
as,
It's more sugar based, So now they know that the honey has different colors and they're all natural as well.
Yeah.
Not being sugar based, of course.
Yeah.
So, what happens now as you close off the program?
Okay, we are handing over actually to the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay.
The extension officers are fully involved in the whole process, so they know exactly what we are doing, what is expected for them to continue. Because there are certain things that they need to follow up. One is that the establishment of the pastures for the sheep, for instance. We did some last year, but we are doing more this year, the rainy season, because that goes along with the rainy season, you cannot plant grass in the dry season. So that actually affected the process, but it will continue. Also, the delivery of the sheep. We are buying, I think the project will buy sheep to give the male lamb to the sheep farmers so that they can improve the quality of the lamb.
Okay.
So that when you get lamb again, it shouldn't be as tough as before.
Okay.
It is much easier, much tastier, and also much more softer.
All right.
So the same thing with the onion. We are working with the farmers to be able to work together to sell the onion and also cut on the importation, or not importation, illegal importation.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the contraband.
Yes.
But not only that, do we produce all kinds of onions, or are we only yellow and white?
No, we produce the white one, which is consumed basically up north.
Yeah.
And then we have the yellow consumed countrywide, then we have the marb looking one.
Yeah, the purple onions.
That
yeah.
is, it's like a delicacy onion for salads and so on.
Yeah.
But all of them grow very good in Belize, and the onion production seasons, the people start to plant from September up to February. And right now we still have onion in Belize. People still have onion in the field which they are harvesting. So the length of time has increased, and we have we assisted the farmers to set up storage units so that when they harvest the onion, if they can't sell it, they can store it. But they have to cure it.
Yeah.
If it is not cured properly, it won't last. And that's the reason why you find in the stores a lot of the onions are sprouted because they have not been cured properly. So those are challenges that we find, and we are addressing them
All right.
along the line.
Well, this has been very enlightening, and we appreciate you stopping in to let us know what is taking place within the North. And once again, this is specifically looking at getting small cane farmers to find a new venture in agriculture. And most importantly is that when they produce, that we purchase it as well.
Yes, buy local, Belize.
All right. We're going to go ahead now and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by representatives of the Rotary Club of Devlopent to talk about
The Belize Rubber Duck Race, the third annual.
all right. That's coming up after a few. Stay tuned.